omnipotent beings with absolutely insane supernatural abilities. Entities that can influence the lives of many with limitless powers, casually influencing the lives of countless individuals in just a brief moment. So you may be asking, how did Knuckles fit into the category of sacred beings? If you take a look into the world of the Archie comics, during issues 90 to 124, Knuckles underwent one of the strangest transformations of all time, Chaos Knuckles, a transformation that evolved him into a literal god. While many bystanders would look at this as nothing more than Knuckles going green, there is quite a lot more than just the appearance. From the birth of his powers, siding with the enemy, and a fatal conflict with a certain mammoth, this is the story of Chaos Knuckles. The birth of Chaos Knuckles actually began during the birth of Knuckles. The 25th issue of the Knuckles series has Knuckles finally reunite with his estranged father, Locke. In the issue, Locke explains the history of the Guardians of Angel Island, along with how Knuckles got his famed abilities. After envisioning a nightmare of Knuckles' possible demise, Locke consulted with Aether and came to the conclusion that they were visions from the future. So what is Locke gonna do now? He soon began testing various biological enhancements and eventually subjected the egg of Knuckles to chaos energy radiation. The effects of this had caused him to evolve and mutate, the spikes on his hands being an example of the genetic enhancements. Little did either of them know that Knuckles himself would evolve further beyond. The actions that set things in motion are quite unethical and disturbing, and really shows that Locke himself isn't really that good of a father figure to begin with, outright abandoning his son and mutating him in order to save the future. The worst part within this is that Locke never admits that what he's done is necessarily wrong. Honestly, not a good start to this whole saga, but we still have a couple more issues to go through. So let's jump forward to the main series with issue 89. In issue 89 and 90, Knuckles, along with Robbo the Hedge, Amy, Antoine, and Bunny all head to Albion, where they find Antoine's father about to be deactivated. He suddenly wakes up and attacks Knuckles, who taps into his natural chaos abilities at that moment and transforms into Chaos Knuckles, supposedly harnessing his powers similar to that of his ancestor Dimitri. Knack the Weasel and his sister Nick are hired by the Albion High Council to capture Knuckles, and successfully do it in issue 93. Charmby and Saffron attempt to rescue Knuckles as he's attached to a chaos siphon, but he goes berserk with his power and just disappears. So where has Knuckles gone? Our questions are answered as Knuckles arrives back on familiar grounds with Tails through the help of Aether in issue 94. Tails tries to help out the Echidna but is severely injured and taken back to his uncle, Merlin Prower. Aether and Merlin argue over using Tails to help Knuckles. Tails is the only remaining relative and Merlin doesn't want to lose him, but Aether reciprocates that Tails is the chosen one, and reluctantly turns Tails into his super form, Turbo Tails. They duke it out and Knuckles leaves, and it's revealed that the Tails that we followed in this story was apparently a clone? Yeah, this story is getting pretty confusing and exhausting already, but we finally crawl our way to issue 100, with Knuckles coming face to face with Dimitri, the leader of the Dark Legion. Knuckles demands that Dimitri restore everyone back to Angel Island due to the Dark Legion's quantum beam as seen in Super Special number 14. Dimitri agrees in exchange for Knuckles joining their side. Knuckles simply just agrees to help them, despite the fact that he has all the power in the world to just, I don't know, threaten him to undo the disaster, but go off, I guess. Right as the Legion is about to restore the floating island's inhabitants, Tobor and Kragok magically appear and accidentally disrupt the beam, both of them dying in the process. With the guidance of Dimitri, it's up to Knuckles to save the people of Angel Island. Weird things are going down with Knuckles and the Dark Legion, as 101's cover story has Sonic and the Freedom Fighters going through various realities thanks to Chaos Knuckles' ability to tamper with the space-time continuum. We jump from the OVA continuity into realities where Knuckles is knighted and where Sally dies. Eventually, Sonic and Co. break free from the altered states. In the meanwhile, Knuckles travels back in time and destroys a comet heading for Echidnaopolis, but fails in the process, so it's time to go to a different point in time to fix things up. He attempts 2 more times in the past to set Angel Island back on Earth in the next issue, resulting in him destroying the whole island and turning him into a robot. With these losses handed towards them, Dimitri conjures up the idea to travel into the future instead. Skipping over to issue 106, Laura Sue is introduced to the series, where she travels back in time and meets Constable Remington, the echidna that apparently kills Knuckles? As for Knuckles, his attempts are successful, as everyone is finally back on the island. It looks like things are looking up for everyone's favorite echidna, right? Well, Dimitri reveals his master plan to rejoin Echidna Society. Dimitri and the Brotherhood eventually reach a compromise in issue 109, and we even see Knuckles save Dimitri from an assassination attempt. It looks like the future is bright for the residents on the floating island. While Knuckles and Co. have been chilling out for a bit, we learn in issue 114 that Dimitri is dying and a certain Mammoth is in town. Heading over to Dimitri, Mammoth Mogul mentions some sort of stolen power and holds Dimitri as a hostage, prompting Knuckles to come over for a visit. Knuckles finally makes it and is given an ultimatum from Mammoth Mogul: step into this Chaos Siphon chamber or Dimitri dies. Knuckles refuses the offer and, as a last-ditch effort to save Dimitri, goes into overload mode and essentially nukes himself. As his friends touch base at the blast site, Dimitri is unharmed, but as for Knuckles, well, to put it bluntly, Knuckles the Echidna is dead. As many mourn the loss of their favorite red echidna, we see Knuckles watch in disbelief as he attends his own funeral, along with other Guardians. He apparently didn't die, instead evolved to a higher plane of existence due to the Chaos Force. It has apparently chosen him and is taken to heaven. He meets Aurora, who is the Force above all, and I guess would be considered God in the comics. She reveals the aforementioned backstory of how Knuckles got his Chaos powers and a good chunk of history surrounding his life. Finally, in issue 125, Knuckles uses his Chaos abilities once more to return back to his previous plane of existence. However, this would ultimately cause him to lose his abilities upon return. Knuckles would stay powerless for a while up until issue 141, where they would magically return during the Return to Angel Island story arc, thus concluding the story of Chaos Knuckles. Chaos Knuckles is a confusing tale of an echidna who was the result of changing one's destiny before it even began, resulting in Knuckles evolving to the point of reaching a non-corporeal plane of existence, and even meeting God. However, there are some issues with the pacing, as it's drawn out to a painful degree with Knuckles. At some points, the pace is completely broken in favor of mere flashbacks and info we already know. Chaos Knuckles is an interesting concept that unfortunately feels underutilized and half-cooked for me. Overall, the entire saga is just competent at best, with a lackluster story that tries to hype itself up as something bigger than it actually is.